Welcome to another evening of frank conversation here on Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. On Hard Copy last week, we spoke with Honorable Ganiyu Johnson of the House of Representatives about a bill which he's sponsoring, which seeks to amend the Medical and Dental Practitioners Act, Cap 379. The one-page amendment proposes to mandate any Nigerian-trained medical or dental practitioner to practice in Nigeria for a minimum of 5 years before being granted a full license by the council in order to make quality health services available to Nigerians. This bill has not been received warmly by the medical community. The National Association of Resident Doctors, whose constituency will be directly affected should such a bill pass, has described it as an attempt to enslave them. On Hard Copy tonight, I speak with Dr. Emeka Orji, president of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, who's joined me from faraway Nairobi in Kenya, where he's attending a medical conference, on why they're so vehemently opposed to the bill. Dr. Orji, thank you so much for coming on Hard Copy. And thank you for accepting to join us all the way from Kenya.
Thank you, Mabe. I'm happy to be here.
Well, the wordings of your statement, which we're reacting to the bill, which formed part of your communique recently, were quite strong. Now, why do you say that the compulsory 5-year service will be tantamount to slavery?
Okay, when that bill became public knowledge, there was this nationwide and I dare say global outreach from everybody against it. And the reasons are clear. The truth is that we see that bill as a very clear attempt to enslave Nigerian doctors, because we know that several portions of the Nigerian Constitution and indeed so many other laws guarantee freedom of movement and mobility of labor. So when you have a bill which seeks to effectively go against such provisions, then it simply means that the bill is dead on arrival. Actually, over the past few years, we have been trying to draw the attention of the Nigerian government to this menace of brain drain in the health sector. And we have profiled solutions because we are the people in the sector, we are the people affected. We know why our members are leaving the country. And in any case, we have even gone scientific by trying to do a study to know exactly why our people are leaving. And what we got was that more than 80% of the respondents told us clearly that they are leaving because of the poor remuneration we have in Nigeria, and a host of other issues ranging from insecurity, poor working environment, inadequate infrastructure, and all that. And we've made the effort to present these facts to the government of Nigeria, asking them to respond to this, because we know that if they do that, we are effectively going to reduce this brain drain and even reverse it. And that has not happened up till now, until I think that was last 2 weeks when this bill became public knowledge. You know that there is a research behind, there should be a research behind every bill. Now, if you go through that bill being proposed by Honorable Ganiyu Johnson, for people who are insiders, it's very clear to see that the bill was not well researched. There was no adequate consultation, because you cannot make such bill without interfacing with the people that the bill is going to directly affect. He didn't do that. Now, you have a proposed bill claiming that we have just 10,000 doctors in Nigeria. That is false. You have a bill that was saying that medical education is heavily subsidized. That is a vague statement. Before you make a bill to restrict movement of people, you should at least tell us to what extent is this medical education subsidized, because it is too simplistic to begin to compare the tuition we pay in public schools here with what is paid in America or Europe. or even private schools without having to say exactly what this tuition is meant for. We know that in many of these schools that they want to compare their school fees with our own, the school fees is composite. It encompasses so many things. But here in Nigerian public schools, in addition to your school fees, you still buy your books, right? You provide for your internet services and a host of other things. So they have to study this and then let us know exactly to what extent this subsidy that is being touted is, because we know that it is actually not much. And the other question you ask is that, is it only medical education that is subsidized in this country? The answer is no. We are challenging them to prove to us that there is a special subsidy they are giving the medical students, which they are not giving other students, because we actually know that medical students pay more, far more than other students in the public schools. So why are they singling doctors out? Okay, so we are totally against the bill. We feel that it is an enslavement. It's an attempt to enslave Nigerian doctors, and it is not going to work. The other thing people are asking, if you say that a full-fledged doctor who has graduated cannot have his license until 5 years, what exactly is he going to be doing within that 5 years? Because without your license, you cannot practice. What makes you a doctor is that license to practice. So if you do not have it, what exactly are you going to be doing? Or do they want to create a pool of unlicensed, unregistered doctors? Do you want exactly? We believe that the bill is just trying to address the symptom of a disease without getting to the root cause of that disease. So we are calling for its immediate withdrawal. We don't even want to hear about public hearing, because you see, this is just waste of time. It's a distraction. By the time you start gathering people from all over the country to come to Abuja for public hearing of a bill that is dead on arrival, we believe it's a waste of time. It's waste of taxpayers' money. The honorable member is a Nigerian. I believe he is listening to the news. He is seeing the global condemnation. Everybody has condemned so there is no need for him to keep doubling down on the wrong path. Let him withdraw the bill and discuss with the people involved, so that we can give him the solution to the problem.
Well, you've raised quite a number of issues in one particular answer, talking about subsidies, talking about the issue of license, and also talking about the public hearing. But let me take you back to the problem itself, the problem that we have at hand, the issue of brain drain. You yourself have previously cited the problems identified by the honorable member in calling attention to the severe crisis facing the health sector. You pointed out that about 2,800 doctors had left Nigeria in just a period of 2 years. You broke it down further by saying that it came to about 100 doctors leaving our country on a monthly basis, thereby putting a strain on those who stay. This certainly is an emergency, isn't it?
It is. It's actually that study I told you earlier that you referred to. And I must say that we did that study as at August last year. So we have this belief that it may have actually worsened by now. So clearly we agree with the honorable member that there is massive brain drain. And and in fact, it has assumed a crisis. It is a crisis that we have to all take note of. But we sharply disagree with the solution he is seeking to bring. In fact, what he is doing will actually end up worsening the problem. Because by the time people know that if I pass through medical school and read medicine and surgery, my movement will be restricted within 5 years of graduation, they will simply go to other courses. And with time, you are going to have reduction in number of people who will be developing interest to read this course. And what have you achieved? It will end up reducing the number that we are talking about. So we agree that the brain drain is in fact, it is affecting us, because you go to the various hospitals, various federal and state tertiary health institutions, you don't see people, you don't see, you have one doctor doing the work of more than 30 people. And there's no way you will be effective. It is leading to increase in waiting time for patients, cancellation of surgeries, and all that. And then the dissatisfaction is one of the causes of the violence against health workers that we are having now. Because when patients come to the hospital and they don't get to see a doctor, they get frustrated and take it out on the poor doctor who has decided to stay behind in this country and work for them. Okay, so instead of actually taking it out on the government that has failed to address the issues we talked about, so it is affecting us. But what we are saying is that you cannot be addressing symptoms of a disease without getting to the root cause. There's no ad hoc, there's no shortcut to this. Okay, you are not paying people well. The condition of service is deplorable. People are not happy. I've not seen any doctor that will see a patient, you know what to do to save that patient, but you simply can't because you don't have the facilities here. All the issues of depression we're having, our members going into the depression, this is part of it. You see your patients dying because you can't help them when you need to because of the fact that you don't have some facilities. So this certainly is part of the problem.
So, it is important to know that you're able to agree on the fact that there is an emergency, that you've talked about a massive brain drain and the fact that, it's something really needs to be done to stop it urgently. I'm just wondering whether, because it would seem that where you now differ is the solutions that are being brought up. Some people have likened what we're currently having in our medical sector, because according to the Honorable, he sees that sector as not just any other sector, but a critical sector. And according to him, this is not the first time he's moving something in respect to health. He's talked about packages before. He's talked about the upgrade of medical centers. He's talked about providing more employment for those in the healthcare sector. That this particular bill is to seek to, make sure that people can stay for a bit. Just a bit, 5 years. He says that the medical school, that's a housemanship, housemanship, and the service year, which are already ongoing anyway, are already a part of it. That this is just a situation whereby we're asking doctors to stay 3 years extra so that the people within the system not living en masse as we're currently seeing. Don't you think that's something, because if we're to compare the remuneration abroad in all of these other places where countries are even coming to actively recruit our doctors, we know that it's going to be very difficult for Nigeria to cope. Don't you agree?
You see, the truth is that we have brain drain, we don't have enough doctors, but even the doctors we have available, many of them are on the streets. They have not been employed. So if you increase the pool of those who have not been employed, what have you achieved? The House of Representatives is following a wrong path. Before any chief executive officer in the Federal Tertiary Health Institute employs anybody, it takes minimum of 6 to 8 months because of the bureaucracy. And that was what I tried to say. We have massive depletion in the hospitals, but they are not even absorbing those who are available, that are seeking to enter the system. That is one. Two is that nobody should deceive Nigerians. I want to ask, the 2023 budget for health for this year, how many percent was allocated? Less than 6%. I'm sure you've heard of Abuja Declaration that in 2001, heads of states of African continent gathered and made this proposal that for any country to make any visible improvement in their health sector, they have to budget minimum of 15% to their health. Nigeria has never crossed 8% since then. So if you do not have enough funds, exactly how are they going to address the package the honorable member is talking about? When you leave the main issue that you are supposed to address, and you are saying things that is not going to work just because you just want to achieve one aim. I can tell you that the only aim of that bill is to enslave Nigerian doctors. But it is not going to work
Enslave
because
them
it is
for
clearly
3 years?
against the Constitution.
Is
For 5
a
years.
period of 3 years, is it long enough for us to say it's an enslavement?
Any enslavement, even if it's just for 1 month, is against the Constitution. It is not acceptable, and it is going to worsen the situation.
In consideration of the intervention of the House of Reps in times past, I mean, because this is not the first time that we're seeing something come up from the House of Reps. We've seen that, doctors have agitated in times past for improved working conditions. They've gone on strike for a few or various reasons, some of which have been answered, some of which haven't been till date. The House of Reps, led by its Speaker, have intervened in some instances with varying levels of success. One of them was during COVID, the introduction of insurance, like a special insurance cover for COVID itself. And we saw just how long that took and the back and forth in terms of the Ministry of Health and the doctors themselves. So we've been seeing this in times past. Would you say that this has come from a place of malice, or would you say that perhaps it is passion that, and concern in the area of how to get things done? How do we begin to address this on the part of the House of Reps?
Honestly, it is difficult to tell. But what we know is that the bill is an enslavement and it should be withdrawn. We have tried to provide evidence. Are they not seeing the condemnation all over the country? See, the truth is that we are essential workers. We agree. But people are asking, if because that is the reason they are giving, because we are essential workers. That is why they want to isolate us and keep us in this country, and they are not doing it to other people. That is not the way to go. If you believe that we're essential workers, you treat us that way. Okay, you try to make our work easier, make us comfortable, invest in infrastructure, welfare packages, remuneration. That is the way to go. If you do not do that, people, and I want to say too, that bill too, because the honorable member is not in the health sector, he doesn't know. Doctors live here without their license. So even if you pass that bill into law, it is not going to address what you want to address. And that's why we are saying, withdraw the bill. Let us discuss. We have said this in the past, that government should not go on its own to try to find solution to this problem because they are going to make mistake. They should carry us along. Let us give them better information on how to resolve this whole issue. And because they haven't done that, that is why they went through this path, which is clearly wrong and unacceptable. Okay, so we are requesting for it to be withdrawn. Let us discuss and find a solution to this problem.
Well, talking about some of the disputes that you've had with government in times past, and the resolutions that have come out of them, it still doesn't appear that there is a level of satisfaction which, both NARD and even the Nigerian people are getting from, some of the, some of the disputes that have arisen. I don't know why do you think it is difficult, or what do you think is at the heart of the inability of governments? And because I say governments because the governments are at several levels, and they have different levels to the healthcare sector. What do you think is at the heart of the inability to get to the level of healthcare that we truly desire for Nigeria?
We need to get back to the basis. We need to increase funding. As long as you don't do that, no matter the number of meetings you have with the unions, you are not going to make any significant improvement. That's one. Two is that in addition to increasing the funding, you need to put measures in place to prevent corruption and ensure that the funds you are injecting into the health sector is effectively being used for that purpose. The third thing is that the state governments should also take responsibility. This thing is not going to be addressed only by the federal government. The state government should pay attention to health sector and revamp the secondary health facilities. And for so many of them who have teaching hospitals, the tertiary health facilities, they should revamp them. They should pay them salaries. We still have doctors in this country being in Abia State Teaching Hospital. They are still owing them 20-something months, close to 30 months of their monthly salary. You cannot have that and you say that people will not leave. Okay, they should also look at other welfare packages. They should provide equipment. There are so many equipment that if I start listing them now, that so many tertiary health institutions do not have, and it is affecting our practice. They should improve on security. They should stop this violence against health practitioners. Doctors are seeing that Nigerians don't value their services again.
You have
And
asked,
I also,
yeah, I was going to say that you've asked that the bill be withdrawn in its entirety and it shouldn't go on to the level of public hearing. But don't you think that if it doesn't go on to the level of public hearing, it will be a missed opportunity, considering the interest that is now this bill has generated and the opportunity it has now given for us to have a national conversation on our healthcare sector?
I do not think so, because the honorable member, I watched him last week on this program. He doesn't look at as someone that is willing to accept constructive engagement. In fact, I heard him say that they are bringing up more bills. People have pointed out that the direction we are going is wrong, and you are grandstanding. So our members are not comfortable, and they cannot trust whatever will come out from that bill, except that it should be withdrawn. And this is very important, because you have to realize that Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors over the years have tried, at least in the recent years, have tried to maintain industrial harmony in the system. In the last 2 to 3 years, we've not had of any strike and all that. We have been patient all this while, but it looks as if our members are feeling that government is taking our patience for granted. I told you that almost 6 months ago, a committee was set up to review this our salary upwards. And I want to say that this salary has been in existence the way it is for over 10 years. With inflation increasing, dollar exchange rate skyrocketing, and other things. And government has not been able to conclude that negotiation. Now, what this bill has achieved is that it has angered everybody, and they have forced us to fix our emergency National Executive Council meeting, which is going to hold next week. This bill and the inability of government to conclude on negotiation to increase commerce is part of the things we are going to discuss there.
Well, we do hope that, whatever decision is taken, that it would not be taken in anger. That's the plea that we can make, because at the end of the day, when you seek to punish government or make your stance known, some people will say it is still Nigerians that will bear the brunt of whatever decisions it is that you take. But I'm just wondering whether or not you think that there could be an opportunity to perhaps rewrite, because you've said withdraw the bill and maybe we can talk about solutions then. What other opportunities do you then see for, continue to put attention on our healthcare sector, which is in such a dire situation, and a situation whereby our healthcare workers are not, leaving for greener pastures in the numbers that they're currently leaving?
Like I said, if doctors are maybe you are sponsored the person on training abroad, and of course, before he even goes there has to be a bond. He has to be aware, so that if he's choosing to accept that bond, right, he should also be willing to serve the bond parameters and all that before he goes. If you have given doctors special scholarship, the person already knows that, look, I have signed that I will serve 2-3 years after graduation. But that has not been done. I keep saying it, there's no special subsidy they are giving us. So why are they targeting doctors? And if you tell me it's because it is a critical sector, we are essential workers, we agree. But you need to treat us as essential workers for us to stay freely, and not to coerce us to remain in a place that maybe some people feel that, look, because of the environment, I don't want to stay. Everything is not even about remuneration. There are so many reasons people want to go, and you cannot force them against their will to stay. It is against the law.
Dr. Emeka Oji, thank you so much for speaking with us tonight all the way from Nairobi in Kenya.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Well, that's the program. I must acknowledge the mails we received from you before we leave. Professor Amos Akimbiyi, Dr. Chukwuka Anazaya, Professor Emmanuel Otolori, Professor, Frederick Grace, and others. Thank you so much for your feedback. Now, if you'd like to speak to us on this week's edition, please use the handles showing on your screen. Thank you for watching. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. Good night.